This is an AQA GCSE Chemistry question and it's based around the industrial processes topic. Have a go at each section, pausing as you go, and we'll look at the answers once you've tried. Here's part A, part B, part C, part D, and finally part E. So quite a difficult topic, but lots of multiple choice here. Let's go back to A and have a look. A question about drinking water. Two main steps in producing drinking water from fresh water. Draw one line from each step to the reason for the step. So in terms of filtration, whenever we think of filtering right the way back to lower school, you will have known that filtration will remove solids from a solution. You may think about it being sand from water. So we've got removing solids. In terms of sterilisation, what I'm hoping you've remembered here is that that relates to killing bacteria. Moving on to part B, which two substances are used to sterilise fresh water. Straightforward factual recall, but read the question carefully. If you only tick one box, you're guaranteeing you can get maximum half marks. And what we're looking for on this one is chlorine. We can relate that to swimming pools. We know it's added there to kill bacteria, but it can be added to fresh water as well, even drinking water. The other one that you need to remember is that ozone can be used to have that same effect. Moving on to part C, scientists tested a sample of the drinking water to show it contains dissolved solids. Which of these two methods would show the presence of dissolved solids in the sample of drinking water? Well, the first one to take a look at is that we could evaporate all the water from the sample. If we heat it to dryness, if there is a solid dissolved, that solid would be left behind. And whenever you've done evaporation of salts before, that's precisely what you've seen. But you could also measure the sample's boiling point, because if we take water as an example, the boiling point of water is 100 degrees C, but that's only true for pure water. If there are impurities, and that's what dissolved solids would be, it would change it ever so slightly. Moving on to part D, we've once again here got water samples from drinking water supply. We've got scientists testing one sample for aluminium ions, the other for sulfate. So this is actually about chemical identification tests. Draw one line. What would I need to test for aluminium ions? Well, for aluminium ions, the standard test is we add sodium hydroxide, and if there are aluminium ions present, we get a white precipitate that redissolves when we add an excess. But we also have sulfate ions, which we test with barium chloride. That will give a white precipitate of barium sulfate. Finally, part E, we're ticking one box only. How could pure water be produced from drinking water that contained dissolved solids? So we want the water kept behind here. That means we have to choose distillation. That takes us to the end of this question. Thank you for listening.